Hello and welcome to this presentation on privacy in immersive extended reality. My name is Hilda Hadan. This is a work that I conducted with my colleagues Derrick, Wang, Dr. Lennart, Nacke, and Dr. Leah, Zhang-Kennedy. Extended reality is the umbrella term for immersive technologies that include virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. XR lets users easily create, collaborate, and travel across immersive digital environments. These environments offer realistic visual and auditory experiences through interactive elements. XR is revolutionizing the way people live, work, and play. It creates a virtual world for people by tracking their position. Extended reality is the umbrella term for immersive technology. XR's immersive nature presents unique privacy challenges. Unlike traditional technology, XR sensors can collect data that, while seemingly non-sensitive, can be used to identify users. These data can then de-anonymize users, revealing their location or interests, potentially leading to hyper-personalized advertising or even misuse by malicious actors. Existing research focused on developer perspectives, analyzing system functionalities and privacy policies in various XR technologies. However, the perceptions of XR users were rarely considered. The objective of our research is to understand users' awareness and privacy concerns in XR and to identify the contributing factors in raising or inhibiting users' privacy concerns. For users who express privacy concerns in XR, we also study their privacy-protecting coping strategies. We answer 4 research questions. How much are people aware of data collection through XR devices? To what extent are people concerned about their privacy and data collection in XR? What factors contributing to user privacy concerns in XR? What coping strategies, if any, do people use to mitigate their privacy concerns? Our methodology is an online survey with 18 scenarios. We chose this method because privacy norms are context-dependent. Scenarios are hypothetical situations that have been used frequently in privacy research to provide participants with context when evaluating privacy concerns. As the first attempt to seek essential insights into users' privacy concerns in XR, we narrow our scope by focusing on personal XR systems in single-user scenarios. In each scenario, we incorporated factors that were found to influence user privacy concerns in IoT, mobile, and on the web. We aim to determine whether these factors remained influential in XR environments. These factors include 3 static factors, including user type, location, and device type that remain unchanged throughout all scenarios, and 2 dynamic factors, including data type and device status, that varied between scenarios. We decided to focus on the data types and device status to keep the scenarios more manageable for participants. User type is the type of user being involved in the data collection described in this scenario. For the scope of our study, it is always set to the user, which is you. Location is the location where the data collection occurs. It is always set to a private space, such as a personal room or at home, for the scope of our study. Device type is the type of XR technology that collects data in the scenario. For our study, it is always set to all XR devices because in most cases, different types of XR technologies share similar data collection sensors. Data type is the type of data being collected by XR devices in the scenario. Initially, we gathered 26 data types from existing literature and technical reports on XR, but we decided to only study 9 types of data that only XR devices can capture, given that all other data types were already well studied in IoT, mobile, and web privacy research. Device status is the status of the device when the data collection happens. It could be when user is actively interacting with the device or passively when a device is running in the background. The combination of 3 static factors and 2 dynamic factors with 9 data types and 2 device statuses resulted in 18 scenarios in total. Upon receiving ethics approval from our university, we conducted our survey and received 464 responses from participants from 21 countries in North America and Europe. We set our screening criteria to recruit XR users from North America and Europe, as these were the leading regions in the XR market at the time of our research. We collected participants' demographic information and their online general privacy concern. Our assumption was that for people who have more concern about their privacy online, they might also have more privacy concern in the XR technologies. A quick survey flow overview. Our survey started with screening questions. Those that qualify were then sent to our main questionnaire, in which we first inquired about their awareness of XR device data practices. Then each participant was randomly presented with 4 out of 18 scenarios. To avoid the bias from the sequencing of scenarios, we decided to randomly assign scenarios to each participant. Under each scenario, we assessed participants' privacy concern and other factors that could influence their concerns, such as their perceived sensitivity of the data and how realistic they perceive the scenario is. For those that expressed high level of concerns of privacy, we also asked about their coping strategies for protecting themselves. After that, we ended it with questions on participants' experience with XR devices and demographic questions. The first part of our survey investigated user awareness of data collection by XR devices. We asked participants what data they believed XR devices could observe. The majority of participants mentioned that XR devices can capture their physical movements, environment information, and visual attention. Many participants also noted the potential for XR devices to observe their identifying and non-identifying virtual assets. However, only a small number of participants were aware that devices might estimate their cognitive function, emotions, and personality from the data. Our next research question explored user privacy concerns in various XR scenarios. To prevent biasing their perceptions, in these questions, we did not explicitly mention privacy, but we asked about their comfort with data sharing, because literature suggests that people feel less comfortable sharing personal data when they perceive high level of privacy concern. From our study, we found that participants expressed relevantly strong discomfort with scenario involving data collection related to cognitive, emotional, and personality estimates. This particular data type was also perceived as the most sensitive and the least likely to be observed by current XR devices. Participants also showed a significant higher level of comfort with scenarios involving non-identifying virtual assets. This data type was also perceived as the least sensitive among all other data types. A slightly greater number of participants expressed less comfort with scenarios involving the device operating passively in the background. A slightly greater number of participants perceived higher level of data sensitivity and realism when scenarios involving active device interaction. We further conducted within-subject tests and confirmed the statistical significance of these within-subject differences. We further conducted regression analysis to identify factors that contribute to people's privacy concern in XR technologies. From the analysis, we found a clear connection between perceived data sensitivity, perceived realism of the scenario, and user comfort. Scenarios involving more sensitive data resulted in lower comfort levels, and scenarios being perceived as more likely to happen resulted in higher comfort levels. Comfort levels were also impacted by device status. This suggests that participants have less comfort when the device is running in the background. For participants who expressed discomfort, we used an open-ended question to understand strategies they used when experiencing high level of privacy concerns. From participants' responses, we found that across all scenarios, a majority of them expressed pessimism about their privacy in XR. Many felt powerless to mitigate privacy concerns and decided to ignoring data collection despite their concerns. Their responses also suggested a connection between data type and coping strategies. Participants were more likely to disregard data collection when actively using the device, especially for scenarios involving environmental information, because they perceive the device's ability to track environmental data can be easily contained. Many participants sought for limiting data collection through software methods like disabling sensors, adjusting XR settings, or using specialized privacy apps. Hardware-based strategies such as placing devices in designated rooms with low privacy concerns, disconnecting or unplugging the device were also mentioned by our participants. Some participants mentioned self-censorship behaviors such as limiting device usage or suppressing emotions and mannerisms to avoid potential profiling and inferences. Some participants expressed a preference to avoid the devices entirely, even disposing them. A small group of participants indicated they might have chosen differently, avoiding device purchase completely if they'd been aware of the data collection practices beforehand. A few participants mentioned actively weighing the trade-off between XR's functionality and potential privacy compromises. Some participants expressed a desire for greater transparency regarding XR data practices and actively looked for control and methods to reduce data collection. This included actively reading user agreements and privacy policies, along with a preference for anonymized XR data use that directly benefits their experience. In short, we found that XR users had limited awareness regarding XR devices' data collection capabilities, including sensitive information like emotional responses. This lack of awareness can lead to a lack of awareness that XR can be more privacy invasive than other digital technologies. Second, through the 18 scenarios, we found different factors that influence user privacy concerns, including data type, sensitivity, device status, and perceived realism. Third, despite their concerns, many users lack sophisticated strategies to protect their privacy. Most of our participants opted to give up protecting their privacy. Their resignation to privacy and their limited privacy protective strategies in XR were mostly based on their experience interacting with other technologies. Key takeaways. Many of our participants actively sought to understand data practices of XR devices. This suggests a need for XR product designers and policymakers to ensure that users are informed about the XR-related data practices. This includes informing users about the novel data types collected in 3D environments that are not common in 2D web and mobile-based applications, and the specific methods of data collection employed by XR devices. While some participants sought to physically block sensors or self-censor their actions, these methods often hampered XR enjoyment. A solution to this is to implement notifications in XR with careful design, because the immersive nature of XR can cause users to miss important information or be overly disrupted. We encourage future researchers and designers to explore notification methods that balance effectiveness with a smooth user experience. One approach could involve user consent through natural gestures or actions, replacing traditional text-based methods. Another solution is to have privacy-friendly defaults where data collection is limited by default. This approach can simplify user control by reducing the burdens on making the best privacy decisions. Lastly, our study also found the need for transparency and robust legal frameworks in XR data practices. Many of our participants reported trusting and relying on the manufacturer to do what had been stated in their privacy policy and privacy laws. However, current privacy legal frameworks are not adequate to protect people from the proliferation of sensors and uncertainties in XR data practices. Therefore, on the one hand, we encourage future designers to incorporate transparent controls in their XR products, empowering users to manage their privacy effectively. On the other hand, new regulations are also needed to address sensitive data types and establish appropriate consent mechanisms for XR environments. Our study identifies potential areas of concern, such as behavioral identifiers currently outside the scope of existing privacy laws. We also acknowledge that factors we investigated in our study is not an exhaustive list. We encourage future research to explore user privacy concerns in more intricate XR scenarios, considering factors such as bystander presence, multi-user interactions, device manufacturer reputation, and even non-user perspectives. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any comments or feedback, please reach out to us.